You got to see the tape to know what the man's talking about.
Yeah.
You're right.
Skateboarding is a fad that has been up and down in terms of popularity. It seems right now the sport is only for a select few, and some of those are riding the half pipe.
What you're seeing is an untold skate story from the Southeast that is a compilation of over 150 hours of footage that was shot at a time when no one had a video camera. So the documentation is actually rare and weird. But back then, everybody just said, put the fucking camera away, you know, let's skate. Why have you not heard a Southern story yet? Because we didn't give a fuck. First time I ever noticed any kind of attitude about it was basically, I saw someone that had a sticker that said, we don't care how the fuck they do it in California. And it was some fucking dude grinding a pool with this sticker I saw. I was like, damn, that's fucking nuts. Like, and then I realized like those dudes out there had twice as many skate parks poured for them, and the scene, you know, all the companies were out there. We were over here just to get a free board or get anything at all. Wasn't gonna happen probably. So we were just already prepared for that. And then I looked around, I saw what was going on the East Coast and saw people like Lowe, Jimmy O'Brien, John Hillsman, John Hughes, Tommy Kay, Tim Payne, Blaize Blouin, and Lenny Bird. And realized how much was going down on the East Coast.
Georgia has a lot of skaters. Florida has a lot of skaters. And like the rest of the world doesn't just exist in California. Like skating's global, not just there.
We were elitists. We were the select few who decided, you know, we're gonna do this thing no matter how much they tell us not to.
Bailing for everyone's pleasure behind the video camera.
I grew up in the 80s, which was basically all the backyard or find some shit. And that was it.
We were building things maybe in our backyard, but not really. We really didn't know how yet because we hadn't seen examples which would come with this new concrete was being poured all around us for these private investment skate parks. They didn't make money. They went bankrupt. They didn't last very long at all. I mean, that period went by in 2 years. We'd already seen examples of how they built the pools, how the transitions were laid, and it gave us more ideas for our own backyards, which I think that do-it-yourself attitude crossed all the way across the whole East Coast with mini ramps and vert ramps in every backyard.
It was easy for us to drive down the street, go by a construction job site, see a bunch of wood lying in a dumpster and throw it in the back of the truck and bring it home and put it together. I mean, we built like 32-foot wide vert ramps before for $12. Basically, it's using what you have around you to create something to ride.
Nobody had any money, dude. We were fucking broke as a joke. So if you could get some wood off a job site or wherever you happen to get some wood from, you know, someone's dad's tearing down a shed, you know, everybody kicks in, whatever it takes, you could do that. And you could build it in your parents' backyard or your buddy's parents' backyard because it wasn't permanent. You didn't need anything to do it. All you had to do was get started. And then by the time you had the trannies up, and mom came home and started freaking out, you're almost there. So, shit, that's pretty tight. Might as well let us finish.
You had places like the Ramp Ranch and Thomas's Ramp where, you know, the people that were really committed could come and get together in there, and whoever knew that, they knew where to go. That's pretty much how it was.
It's a pretty blowing up skate scene for being in the fucking middle of nowhere.
During its heyday, everybody tried to cash in on skateboarding's popularity.
Man, we were amazed to even see the skate parks open in the first place. Like when those happened, you saw someone else like, hey, have you seen you got the skate park?
A lot of concrete parks in the late 70s, early 80s, and then they were torn down. That's why Kona Skate Park from back in the day is so good, because that's one of the few parks in the world left from the 70s.
You gotta love Kona, you know? That's all there is to it. I mean, it's beautiful. I wish I had it in my backyard.
done. Yeah, badass.
I think probably at least 45% of us are probably already building in our backyards before the parks ever got those, or we thought they were going, just because we didn't want to pay $8 to go ride the fucking park. We didn't want to sit there and wait for someone else to drop in. We just wanted to fucking run around and sing.
I don't know, there was all these skate parks, but we never went to that many of them just because we had all our vert ramps, and that's what we skated for free.
People thought it was going to make a bunch of money, but it just didn't. I mean, everything was dozed and gone. What was left was just a few, like Kona stayed in business, Gadsden was in Rubbles.
Oh my god, look at the skate park. Doesn't this piss you off? That cloverleaf right there. Killer clover, killer hip. Okay, gonna hop back up the wall here. Look at this fucking pool. Yeah! He's bumming. Rolling in on his wet board and bare feet. Yeah. Woo! Down lock. Whoa! Yeah. Unknown Gadsden Skate Park, still here since '78.
When skate parks disappeared, those determined to keep skateboarding alive weren't discouraged. Regulations pushed the sidewalk surfer from the park into his backyard.
First time I went to the ranch, I was there with a buddy of mine named Berkeley, and he had explained to me this big secret he wanted to show me. We get to the ramp ranch, we go around the corner of the house, and it was like discovering the pyramids. All this flat bottom. What is this for? So you can think when you skate, I couldn't skate it. It took me all day to learn how to skate a flat bottom ramp. I had no idea what I was doing.
Thrasher magazine did give that ramp credit as being one of the first ramps in the whole United States to ever have flat bottom, possibly the world, that they'd ever seen a photo of. But I do think the ranch was ahead of its time. You know, as far as flat bottom transition ramps, the ranch was one of the first ones that I had ever heard of or seen. So before that, imagine that no one had ever seen a ramp with correct flat bottom in between it.
I built that ramp in my backyard about 78, something like that, 77, 78. Put flat bottom in there, and damn, that shit works good, don't it? Everybody skated the ramp with flat bottom. Everybody knows you want that shit on there.
Yeah, and that blew me away, because basically before that it was quarter pipes and sidewalks and banks, you know, and then I went over there and saw that. Yeah, it lit me up.
The whole East Coast was in TK's backyard.
Now let me tell you something. If any of those guys didn't want you to ride, you weren't gonna ride.
I've seen people heckle their way out of skating, literally. Heckle so hard they never skated again. Weeding out the weak.
On video.
We had heard they had a ramp out there in Carrollton, and this guy, Rodney, and this other dude, Rob Miller, find out to be the legendary Rob Miller. We went out there and rode the ramp once or twice and came back, had a contest out there, everybody got a blast.
Rough cut, big transitions. Some of the best airs I ever caught back in the old days were on that ramp.
And I remember you could do anything on it. You could go so high on it.
Next to a garden, so we called it the garden ramp, a little mini cornfield. They were just little sticks rednecks, man. They built some flipping super awesome ramp.
9.5 foot curve, 1.5 foot of vert, and it was 11 foot tall and 24 foot wide with a 12 foot flat. We started structuring all these up. I mean, I'm sure people thought we were building Noah's Ark out there.
He was fucking awesome. Even though it was them mid-80s, he was still rocking 1978, killing it.
So what'd you think about that session, Alf?
It was rad, man. I want to go skate there.
Backyard in Atlanta, what's the most awesome pool? God, that's a hard call too. Man, there were so many of them, dude, back in the day, I couldn't even tell you.
There was just a bunch of pools. You know, a lot of them I couldn't give names. Everybody had different names for them.
I was fortunate enough to skate the Cabana, and that was incredible. And the mansion.
Dude, the Blue Room, yeah, the Mickey Mouse head.
Yeah, one of my favorites my buddy Thomas Taylor took me to was the Turkey Bowl by Lennox. Killer coping, killer round bowl. One of my favorite pools too was, you know, like Collier pools, roaming in. That was pretty badass. And I actually skated that thing when they'd ripped the tile off and cleaned it all up. And we were bailing it out, and I had my beer there and using the beer to prime it and stuff. And right as the thing got empty, I went and so happy to chug the whole beer, and I was so excited. By the time I finished that beer and I was ready to carve ground that coke, and I was like, oh my God, I just drank the pool.
Some of them were better for some things and some were better than others, you know? Some had a really cool scene where you could hang out and party and skate all day. Others you had to hit it and quit it, but they were awesome.
Thomas and just TK and Load and all them cats and showing up to these parties, and everybody's kind of tough, and what's going on, what are you doing? And started seeing pool dust on our skateboards. I was like, what's up with that pool dust? I was like, I don't know, what's up with that stuff on your thing?
To find one is one thing, and then to stick with it, to bail it out is another. you know, and then you're dealing with apartment fucking security and flipping the cops and everything else. Like you gotta be willing to deal with it and just be committed. That's it, you know. And then you got a couple other guys that are down with it like that. That's cool. But you don't want to have a crew that's too big. You gotta have like kind of a little crew. You gotta keep it secret. If it's tight, you can't tell anybody about it. Maybe even some of your best friends might not know.
Oh, hiding pool's big time. But it was just the backyard, carbon tile and carbon coping was just the way I always loved it.
We've had our share of pools, you know. A lot of them were pieces of shit, you know, but you know, they were all fun. It was skateboarding.
1, 2, fuck yeah! the hot spot for these skateboard hotshots, some so good they've rolled into the arena of competitive skating. The kids spent most of last summer building the 10.5 by 35-foot structure. Adam's father put up $2,500 for materials to build the ramp, but didn't get a permit, never figuring his neighbors or DeKalb County officials would object.
I used to have a swing set in the front yard for them when they were younger, and that was allowed.
The county zoning code makes the ramp illegal simply because it's a freestanding structure on a front lawn. Several neighbors who said they fear harassment from angry teens wouldn't talk on camera, but deny their objections have anything to do with the age of the skateboarders. Rather, they say a ramp that draws a crowd simply doesn't belong in their neighborhood. There's little hope left for a reprieve, but the skaters are still flying high, hoping to get the best of that one last ride.
Hold on. I got that thing of you. He's a big guy and he got a big tray. Big
Video.
Hey, that was it. Yeah, that's my backyard right there.
See, the first time I stepped foot over to Thomas's house to ride this new ramp, Tim Payne had built it. You know, saw all the cats' cars there, and I'm like, I see him riding it. Everybody's kind of taking their time, and I'm looking at it like, what the hell is that?
Pretty much anybody that wanted to have a ramp in their backyard, I would help support them.
Tim was in town, and it was just an opportunity to maybe take advantage of it. He was willing to build the ramp for practically nothing.
You know, we all helped build it, but the mastermind behind it was Tim, for sure. It was an elliptical transition.
That type of ramp really suited my kind of skating well, because instead of having two pumps on the ramp where you pump on the bottom and pump at the top, you would have one long pump and just pump right at the top of the lip, so it would just throw you out of the ramp better. You could feel the energy when you're skating. You could feel the ramp pushing you up the wall.
Smile. Yeah. Tracks of disaster.
I believe that'll be a no.
Street skating was something we were just doing. We were bored after we'd skate ramps all day long. And then in the night, we'd just go street skating for the pass the time. It wasn't like we ever let anybody make $1 out of street skating.
Georgia skaters can be real aggressive, and this is a fact.
The small brotherhood back in the day. You saw somebody, you're fucking like, let's do this. There was only a handful of skate crews, you know what I mean? You had Blaize and the Charleston crew, you had the Jacksonville crew, you had the guys up at Cedar Crest, Micro and all those dudes, and you had the guys in Rhode Island, you had the guys out Midwest, and you had the dudes in Texas.
You know, shit was so underground back then, you know, it was more of a party and a get together, and everybody just crashed out in a tent or whatever, and it was a total brotherhood back then. It was seriously East Coast.
Everybody that skated and you know, loved to skate would just hook up.
I got you on video for my whole trip here.
Yeah, this is the luxurious Alabama skate facility.
I'm okay.
All four before runs will be scored, but only 3 will count. The best 3 runs will count. Okay, if you guys want to know what place to see our photo, etc. Bucky Lassick on the ramp down on his final run. The National Skateboard Association, Tony Hawk's dad, Frank Hawk, was the operator, the owner. He wanted to start doing indoor arena events and bring it to the United States, you know, not just to the coast. The National Skateboard Association was trying to become corporate, and he was trying to create preliminary runs and have a generic ramp that was always the same. I was still way against that style of thinking because every skater has something unique, you know, like a unique trick that they do or a unique style or a unique way that they approach riding. And to limit them from their creativity by having a generic flat ramp was just sterile to me. Lucky for me, they flew me in a week before anybody else got there, and so every event I changed the ramp. I had channels, extensions, escalators, full coping. What ended up happening because of the struggles between Frank Hawk and I is pretty much every event Frank would start looking at the ramp and he'd start getting pissed. And he'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'd be like, "I can't do it, Frank, I just can't do it." And so pretty much he'd fire me every event, and after the event, you know, all the skaters loved it so much and complimented the ramp so much that he would basically hire me back every event.
Private park that got built near the perimeter right outside the city was Skatezone. They built the park and had a contest there, but right afterward, the owners figured that they could invest even bigger and would hire a even more advanced contractor to come to town and build something better, which turned out to be Tim Payne. So Tim came to town and thought up this bowl idea.
I had the opportunity to skate the San Juan Capistrano pool out in California. I knew I wanted to build that if I had the opportunity.
Tim already had the idea in his head. He just now was to put it as far as where this job was going to go down.
When we got to the skate zone, Lode and Lenny and Loby and those guys talked the owner into building a bowl, so they had me come in. And there wasn't enough room to really build the hanger bowl there. So, I really like kidneys a lot, and I really like, that 30-degree angle hip on wooden ramps. So I combined those two and, built the Atlanta Skatezone bowl, which just skated amazing right off the bat.
The first of its type, as far as I know, as far as vertical bowls of that size, I've never seen anything in the magazine or documented at all like that.
Dude, Skatezone was the baddest shit ever.
He's keeping the pressure on.
call it the Hanger. It's down on Ashby Fox State Road, and it's a legal place for them to hang 10 7 days a week.
The day we finished the Skatezone, hopped in a car and went to Charleston Hanger, and that building was perfect.
I was living in Charleston at the time the Hanger was, just a thought and was coming around, and Tim came down, we all went to Keith's house. We came up with all these different ideas for bowls, and Blaize had a lot of influence on people when he wanted to, and he had a lot of influence on getting that park built.
Had a huge argument with Blaize because he didn't want the pointed hits. He wanted like flat walls to go into the deep end. After like a 2-hour battle, I just said, fuck it, this is what we're doing. We're building it this way. This is the way it's going down.
And man, it just went from there. She pitched in the money. We all went and hammered nails.
The lumberyard had never seen somebody come in and just drop $60,000 on a bunch of wood.
One of the things that I really liked about the Hanger, the spine that went into the smaller bowl and how you could skate it, the transfer possibilities from wall to wall and bowl to bowl. I can't say thanks enough to Rich and Nancy Moore because, they just saw the dream that we had, to make one of my dreams a reality. And I'd say the Charleston Hanger was one of them. I guess it was about like maybe 10 o'clock or something. This kid pulls up in this car with some friends and gets out of the car and walks up, and he's got sweatpants on and gets up on the ramp and starts skating paddless. Did some big airs, mutes, backside bonus over the channel, blew me away, and that's when I first met Blaize Blouin, and he was an awesome person. We hit it off right off the bat. Blaize was a really humble kid back then. He definitely lived up to his name and definitely had badass style and was an awesome skater, and he was smart as hell.
And he'd do a trick that everybody else did, and it was totally different. And he'd do it his way, and it was the best way. We all recognized that.
He spoke his mind all the time and wasn't afraid to say anything that was on his mind, and his skating expressed a lot of that too.
But all I know is that hell, he pissed everybody I know off, but everybody still loved him. And he was one of the baddest skateboarders I ever seen in my life.
He was the epitome of what you wanted to be as a skateboarder, pure skateboarder. Yeah, he would skate contests. Yeah, he got sponsored. Yeah, he went pro. It was more from progression. And Blaize was the kind of person where he did not involve himself with minutia. He would learn one trick, and he would learn it 10 times better than you could do it.
The way he skated was perfect. It was art in itself. It was such a flow. I could never say enough about Blaize, man, and how hard he ripped, and how much inspiration he had amongst not only me, but pretty much the whole East Coast.
The relationship in backyard ramps and the current DIY that's going on today, it's kind of the same mentality, kind of the same attitude. Basically, it's using what you have around you to create something to ride.
Skateboarders are skateboarders, they're all the same, no matter what the year is, dude. These kids are just like we were. We're just like they are. Fucking, that's why we all get along so well.
I wish, with all the stuff to skate right now, that I was 26 again. I would kill some of this stuff.
I'm still skating every day I can, and I'm skating fun out of Iowa.
But I've skated all over the place and stuff, but it's always good to be home and skating with your crew and having some fun. Now, me at 47 years old, still skating.
Yeah, it's like a double grab, dude. People are like freaking on that shit. I mean, I'm 52, It's like, kids are like, what? That's crazy. I'm like, yeah, they said that when I was 30, whatever. You think about it, nothing's really changed that much.
John, thanks. That was pretty much enough. I'm not going to bother you any more tonight.
No worries.
Yes.
Yes, officer, I was just going from that door there to that car over there. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, you can check my arms. I guess that's what you're doing. Oh, yeah, you can shine that light. Oh, that light is very nice in my eyes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I'll lean up against the car. Yes, sir. Yes, officer. No, normally I don't like men sticking their hands down the pockets of my pants, but in this case, I'll make an exception since you have a gun. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, next time